It's the on-air version. If you're broadcasting on YouTube, then it will allow you to roll dice on the screen. But for some reason, if you're if you're in private hangout, you don't get any dice. They're upgrading everything, I guess. You got to downgrade to upgrade, right?
It sucks.
But yes, we are live now on YouTube for whatever that's worth. Do you guys want to introduce yourself to YouTube or plug any? Do you have a channel, Caius?
I don't really have a channel, but I'll plug the OSG, the Oneshot group. It's a great place to find games and get together with like-minded people. And this game was organized through the Oneshot group. If you come across this and would like to play, find the Oneshot group on Facebook, join it, and join a game, and maybe see you in the future.
And Caius, what's your name and where are you from? You should tell YouTube.
My name as a player, my name is Caius, and I'm from the UK, but I'm actually living in Spain.
All right, and Tyler, same gimmick. What's your name? Where are you from? Do you have anything to plug?
Well, my name's Tyler. My in-game character's name is Sir Joseph Joestar. I guess I'll plug the Oneshot group in too. I've met David, the Oneshot group. He's an amazing DM. We just finished our first actual campaign together about last week.
Yes.
The actual URL for the Oneshot group is facebook.com/groups/tabletop RPG Oneshot, all one word. I'm pretty sure David will plug it into somewhere, hopefully.
Well, I'll try. You obviously don't know about the level of organization on my channel. There's not a lot of it there, but I'll try to remember, certainly.
And I'm born and raised in New York, I guess. Yeah.
All right, stolid Yankee. And I'm, of course, David Ducker from just southwest of Toronto, Canada. God save the Queen, Caius. The power of the Commonwealth coursing through YouTube. And tonight we will be journeying into the mouth of hell as we will endeavor to learn Savage Worlds to some greater degree. Which, unlike Pathfinder, should actually be a pleasant experience despite being in hell. Pathfinder, you could visit, these celestial paradises, but the rule set would make you feel like you're going to hell.
Oh, yeah.
So as we join our daring heroes, Averland is being devastated. The great capital city of Averheim has begun to flood forth a tide of demons. Soldier demons are roaming the land, pillaging, burning, slaughtering, raping, torturing. Just horror has been unleashed. Flying imps filled the skies, again doing their very best to annoy and hinder people going about their daily lives. Just anything to cause human suffering, as would be the want and custom of those from the bottomless pit, from the lake of fire. Now, this is, of course, a very recent occurrence. The sky around Averheim has turned red. Orange lightning has flecked across that sky. The shadows have grown deeper. The people are in turmoil. And all of this seems to be emanating from the Castle Averheim, sometimes known as the Castle of Skulls, because the skulls of the defenders who died keeping that castle safe have been mortared into the walls, so their ghosts can protect the castle. But of course, that seems to have failed as these demons are pouring out and forth. So why don't we go to Tyler first? And how did Joseph Joestar become aware of this, and what is he doing about it?
Well, Joseph Joestar was originally in he's a fresh knight. His family's been knights, so he's kind of that smug asshole that's like, I'm noble, I'm attracted, I have money. Why shouldn't I be a knight? And so he was, I don't remember the name of the town. It was that game that we did, the Curse of the Necromancer.
Hmm.
And
Oh.
he survived from there. And he got some renown for that, for killing a vampire, and he was given the nickname Bane of the Vampire. And so basically, he heard about what was happening here, and he's like, if I kill the vampire single-handedly, I can take some measly demons out. And so he traveled with his squire on his horse here.
All right. What was your squire's name?
Squire John?
All right.
I guess.
Little
I don't remember
John.
his. Yeah.
All right. And Caius, who is your character? How did he become aware of this demonic incursion, and what is he doing about it?
Smoky Kit is one of the charity urchin kids from Abraham itself. So he was brought up in the orphanage in Abraham and has spent his time on the streets. And it's always been a tough life, but it's become a lot tougher in the last few days with this orange lightning and red sky and demons tormenting everything. And he's desperate to finish it. If he can bring an end to it, he will, because he's not out. He's usually out for making a profit, but here he can't even just sit down and enjoy his ill-gotten gains in the taverns. He's always being molested by demons, and he's thought of getting out of here, but this is the only place he knows. So he's gonna do his bit and see if he can get into the castle, close the gate, and hopefully also find some gold whilst he's in there. That's where they stored the money.
That's true. All right, so Smoky, yeah, the city, it's like it's been invaded, but from within. The bastion of safety has become the portal of danger. The city is being like, most people have tried to flee. Many have been cut down where they stood. The knights and the city guard have been smashed. The gates thrown open, and demons are just pouring out. So you're like hiding in this occupied state. You know if the demons find you, they'll do whatever they can to cause pain and suffering upon your flesh. So yeah, someone needs to stop this. And you've kind of hit the point of desperation. Sir Joseph, what do you think about the idea that you, being perhaps of the neighboring county, I believe we were in Stirland last time, and let's say we were in Strigojkovar, which was a city. Although I don't think that's the actual name we use, but let's use that name because it comes to the top of my head at least. So from Strigojkovar, what if you raised up your army? You called your men-at-arms, your archers, your cavalry, and you rode forth to meet this demonic host. But your army was smashed. You met this legion of soldier demons, and they proved overwhelming to your men. Regular steel does not do them any lasting harm. They regenerate almost instantly. If I recall correctly, though, you had an heirloom sword. Is that right?
Yeah, I had I think we gave the ancestral sword, yeah.
Yes, so perhaps you were one of the few who could deal damage to these creatures. So one-on-one, you could hold your own, but your men, your trusted lieutenants, were falling to this host. Eventually, your army was smashed. Despite, I don't think that Joseph would ever retreat. So his army was probably smashed just because he told them, "Keep fighting, men." What do you think about the idea I've got like two ideas. Do you think you would have kind of fled, not fled, but been forced to make a tactical withdrawal?
Yeah.
And
Tactical retreat.
Yeah, you and your squire said, okay, well, we can kill them. We're going to sneak into Averheim. Our army might be lost, but our cause is not.
Mhm.
And you're going forward. The other idea I have is maybe you were captured, and they brought you to the city in chains, but you've escaped, and now you're loose in the city that way. Do you have a preference one way or the other?
I like the second idea more, actually.
Can I have it? Can I have seen him have some effect on the demons, and I have managed to release him?
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, the
So,
place where the last thing took place was called Langwald.
Langwald.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Tyler. You take excellent notes. I usually like discard my one-shot notes after the one-shot, usually.
Yeah, I was just like going through all my notes right now.
All right, so Tyler, let us also say that as your army was advancing, you were marching forward. You did have your archmage Angelo Fairman with you, and some of your men, perhaps with Angelo's help, were able to capture a soldier demon, a scout, before the battle. And Angelo and yourself, you interrogated this demon, dripping holy water down onto him, watching it sizzle, and using the power of white magic from Angelo, you interrogated one of the demons, and based on what he said, he was saying, I serve the master, and you may destroy me, but only return my flesh to the master's grasp. Based on this, Angelo seems to think that there's a diabolist, that there is a wizard holding this gate open. If that wizard can be killed, the gate might collapse, and then Averland would be saved. So perhaps after the battle, you've been smashed. Angelo's been killed. His white magic and your blazing sword, the only things that were dealing damage. You've escaped, or you were captured. He was killed. They killed him right away. You saw him ripped to pieces in front of your eyes, literally ripped to pieces. But you've been brought forth in chains. And the demons, they're trying to carry your sword, but they don't even want to touch it because it burns them just to touch the thing. This holy heirloom of your family, this repository of white magic. And as they brought you forward, you're like in the back of a wagon. You're chained up. Of course, you're almost like up in a stalk in the back of the wagon, and they're dragging you through the streets, making this big show of it. And then your squire, of course, Squire John, just like chained up in the bottom of the wagon. They don't really care to make a spectacle of him. But as you're passing through the streets, perhaps Smoky Kid, you and your gang, maybe your gang survived. You've run in with this orphan street gang. You see this knight. You see the sword, and perhaps the leader of your gang, if that's not you, said, we need to get that sword. That could be our only chance. So the gang rushes up. They start beating down the demons. In the confusion, Joestar manages to get free. Probably you have to free Squire John to get the sword, and once he's free, he immediately goes and frees Sir Joseph. You have to get into his cage to get the sword. He's pulled the sword into the cage, and he's like, no, my lord, I'll protect your sword. And you guys pull the cage open and pull him out and put the boots to him and take his sword, and you start to fuck off with it. And he's like, oh, I've lost your sword, my lord. But he sees one of the demons has been beat down. It's not hurt, but it's been pushed down. He's not injured, but he manages to get the key ring. He climbs up. He unlocks you, Sir Joseph, and you guys go racing off after your sword, after Smokey Kit and his surviving banditos, Smokey and the Bandits. So perhaps that can be where we join you. So you're like, are you still running through the streets, fleeing, or have you reached a safe house? What do you think?
There's in the orphanage was built on some old temple, which was hallowed ground, and it's one of the few places that the demons don't venture yet. So they might break in sometime, but at the moment they've left it alone. And we get back to the safe house in the orphanage, and Smokey turns round. They've been running through the streets, running through back streets, down small alleyways, jumping over back walls, through abandoned buildings to get there, and you've been hot on his heels, and then finally you get there, and Smokey turns round, puts a sword in the ground, and says, "This sword has the power to damage demons, isn't that right?"
Joseph would kind of just like stop running and say, "Why should I have to answer myself to a little?" I don't know how old you are. Is this?
Yeah, what do your characters look like? Describe what. Now that you've had a chance to, you're panting, you've stopped running.
Yeah.
What do you look like? You've got a chance to see each other now.
Well, Sir Joseph is like a 6'5", stereotypical knight. He's big. He's dieseled out. He's wearing a chin hauberk. He has a shield on his back. You see like a little dagger and like strapped to like his like right calf. He's like a very like he has like a it looks like his jawline was like chiseled in by like a master artist. Like if he turned fast enough, he could probably cut you with his jawline. And yeah, that's about it.
Smokey, you're right. He's young. He's a kid of you don't know, late teens. It's difficult to tell. He's somebody who even if you look away from him or glance away, it's difficult to remember what he looked like. He's totally his features are not memorable, but his actual body language, he's always moving. He's never still, and that's one thing that when he's still, when he doesn't move, you'd forget him. But when he's just being natural, he's moving around. He's never still, and he's got a lot of obviously pent up energy inside. And it's this pent up energy that's on display now. Look, I know ways into that castle where the demonist is. I don't know what's caused these problems. I don't know how to solve it. But you're the only one. This sword and you are possibly the only ones who can help me end it. And I've never enjoyed my life here. It's been a bit of a shit place to live, with the law breathing down my neck and all that. But it's not been as bad as this, and I want it to get back to the way it was. I accumulated a bit of money in my time, honest gold. But I can't even enjoy it at the moment. Things have got too bad, and I'd have to leave this place and look for better hunting grounds. But if we can close this portal, it might be even better. What's your name? Fighter.
He'd stand up straight and just kind of like put his like hand over like his heart and say, "Sir Joseph Joestar."
Well, I'm Smokey Kit, and nobody knows the back streets of Abraham like I do. I can get you into that. I can get you into the Castle Abraham, the Castle of Skulls, if you need, if that's if you're here, you've had a bit of a bad time, a hard time. Your first plan, the direct approach, didn't work. You need to take the indirect approach, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. What do you say?
If you can get me into the keep, I will save this place for you.
And you're, sir, if you don't mind me saying, but you've got a loyal squire there, and a squire is a fine job. It's a fine role. Am I correct in believing that squires someday may become knights?
If you're born from a royal family, then yes.
Ah, that's the job, is it?
I'm right? Squires are people born from noble families and are given
Usually.
trained. Yeah.
Yeah, usually, and most noble squires do become knights. It's possible to be lowborn and become a squire. A lot of those ones don't actually end up becoming knights. You have like a 46-year-old squire, and he's just never going to be promoted. I mean, it happens. Because knights, you know, it's expensive to be a knight. You need money to get your armor, to support your horses. So it's, and some squires just, they'll never be able to afford to get knighted. But yeah, you can see Squire John like looking at this this raggedy ass gang of like half-starved children. You know, there's probably like 5 other street urchins who have survived this chase to come back to the orphanage here, and you know, Smokey's like the best looking of all of them. Like he's in the best shape. He looks like he's got the most energy. Some of them are like very lethargic. Their clothes are tattered. They look starving. They're filthy, of course. They smell terrible. So I can imagine, you know, Sir Joseph going from the palace, and now he finds himself with these ragged ass preteens, like just thinking about like what are my chances of survival here. But Smokey, do you in fact know a maybe a secret way into the castle, whether it's an escape tunnel and you can just go the opposite way, or whether it's through the sewers? Do you know a secret way into the castle, perhaps?
Yeah. I know because Spud, one of the guys in the gang, one of the older guys. When I was just young, Spud was the leader of the gang, and he had a girlfriend in the palace, and he knows a way up. Basically, the sewer outlets of the drains from there's an unused sort of toilet block, and one of the drains from there has been built too big, and you can get up there from the sewers.
How does Sir Joseph take that?
He just kind of blinks and says, I am not climbing up a filthy sewage pipe.
It's not filthy. I told you it was an unused toilet.
You want a royal knight?
The latrine hasn't been...
You want a royal knight to climb up a latrine?
If you want to fight hell, you gotta fight hell dirty. We need some dirty fighting, quite literally.
Very well.
But I'll be honest. It's a fairly clean pipe. It's not used, or wasn't used when Spud used to break into the castle. I haven't been that way for a while. it only gets into the servants' quarters, and I don't know my way from the servants' quarters into the main part of the castle. But you know, the servants have to get there. We'll find a way.
All right, let's go. My sword, please, though.
Your sword, it's embedded in the floor, and you've got a this is a holy shrine, and now that it's embedded in the floor, it's protected by the goddess who was who this shrine was dedicated to years ago, and only if you're truly worthy can you pull it out. Otherwise it's stuck there.
You can see Squire John is just like, holy shrine. Like, he believes everything you just said. Like, he thinks this is legit. No doubt Sir Joseph is just like, what are you talking about?
Right now, I kind of wish I was like Thor. It's like, sword.
Yeah.
So Joseph's gonna just like shake his head and just like walk forward and just like pull the sword out the ground.
Squire John is like, oh, you did it.
He is the one. He is the one who can save the city. I'll be building him up.
He's just gonna like walk back to the square and just shake his head like, what did I get myself into?
The other orphan children are all like very excited. Like, Smokey has rallied their spirits by this small deception. So Smokey, why don't you describe how you sneak Sir Joseph into the castle?
So, heading out through, there's some, at the back of the orphanage, there are some sort of orchards that they're not used at the moment. Demons aren't interested in orchards, and nobody's tending them at the moment. But they're a bit overgrown, and they offer good cover. And at the other end of the orchards, there's a large square where the demons torment people. But in the centre of the square is a manhole cover down into the sewers, and some of the other gang make a there in the square there are various people hung up on poles being tortured and just dying in the light and being whipped and things like that, and my gang members go and release one of them and run off, and the demons go chasing them because they know the back streets still better than the demons yet, so they can usually get away down in the labyrinths of the poor quarters, and they release one of the tortured souls, and as the demons go charging off after them, we take that opportunity to run to the grill down into the sewers, and I then lead you through a twisting, turning labyrinth down there to the bottom of just a place with a chute up into the darkness, and with the chute there's a sort of ladder sunk into the stones, and up here it's this is the way up to, this is the access chute up to the servants' latrines where Spudaddy's girlfriend Rose. And lead him up, and we get into just a quiet unused part of the castle.
All right. So yes, as you've come into the castle, it was just as chaotic as the city. Doors are left hanging open, flung open. There's blood stains on the wall and floor. There's claw marks all over the place. Demons will just like walk along the hallway, smashing their axe against the wall, chipping off pieces of masonry. So it's all a complete shambles. You can hear screaming in the background, sometimes coming from nearby. So as you're starting to move through the castle, if you are moving stealthily, I'll get a stealth test.
All right.
So you should have a die code next to stealth. Just roll whatever kind of dice that is. And because you're a hero, you also roll a d6. So you always roll your code plus a d6. You take the higher. Whichever one is higher, that's what you keep. And 4 is the magic number. If you hit 4 or higher, you've succeeded. Perfect. Now let's see if our knight can be stealthy, though.
Yeah, what if I don't have stealth?
If you're untrained, then you're rolling a d4, and you take -2 to your total. So because you're a hero, you get the d4, but you also get a d6 because you're a hero, but both are going to be at a -2.
So you need a 6 on the d6, is that right?
I just got two
yeah.
ones.
All right, so you've so Smokey's moving very stealthily. Now I'll mention as heroes, you also get 3 bennies. These each benny will allow you a single re-roll. You can also use them to soak wounds in combat. Those are the 2 things you use them for. So if you want, you can spend one of your 3 bennies to re-roll that tie, if you want.
I don't want to.
Okay. So describe how you're moving. Obviously, Sir Joseph, describe how you're moving without stealth. But Smokey, go ahead and describe how you're moving with stealth.
So Smokey, like a cat, arriving up, he at the top of the chute, he takes a quick recon, goes up to the door, hears the screaming, and each time that there's a scream, he kind of scuttles from one shadow to the next. So any noise that he might make is covered by one of the screams that is echoing through the corridors, and he's able to be very, very still and then move very fast and then stop. And when he's still, it's very difficult to see him.
All right. And what about Sir Joseph?
He's just walking down the hall.
All right. So perhaps Smokey, you might not even notice. You're just like, follow me, and you're moving like quick and with stealth. And then, the door in front of you like rattles. It's already open, but something brushes against it. You press back into the shadow, and this soldier demon walks out into the hall. So he's got the cloven hoofs, the goat legs, his insanely jacked body. Although there are occasional knobby protrusions like horns, spikes coming out from under his flesh. His head is very much that of an enormous black goat. Is these huge curling horns, and unlike a goat, though, he has razor-sharp teeth, blood-red eyes, and he's wielding this enormous spiky axe. It's like the least practical axe you've ever seen. It's got way too many blades and spikes on it to be really, really practical. But otherwise than that, he's like pretty much naked, and you can see he's got like blood splattering him, a lot of it dried. Smokey, you get this like the stench of brimstone coming off of him. He stinks horribly, but you press back into the shadow and you're like, it's okay, we'll be safe. And you look back as if to like nod your head at Joestar, and you see him just wandering down the hall, and you're just like, oh! And the demon like walks out in the hall and like scratching himself, and he looks down and he sees Joestar, and your eyes meet, and he raises his axe up and gives this inhuman snarl and rushes towards you. So if no one objects, we'll forego the card-based initiative and just make agility tests. and the highest will go first, and then second highest second, unless anyone strongly objects.
So do
just
we roll
the
the d6 along with this?
Yes, yes. So roll whatever your agility is, and then roll your d6 as well. Take the higher,
All right.
and that's going to be your initiative order.
All right, I got a 6.
Excellent.
Mine's a 4.
I was thinking like maybe I could like pretend to be one of the suits of armor they're on like along the wall or something.
Yeah, unfortunately, with chainmail, that doesn't work so well. If we had plate, that maybe.
The plate would be too strong for a novice.
I think when I upgraded the free gens, they had plate.
Well, I have chain.
The chainmail was like people were dying, so I was like, I need to upgrade these free gens. All right, so we got the. Fortunately, they've kind of rolled themselves as a block. The Squire and the Demon. So you get the drop on them, Tyler. Not in terms of rules, but in terms of you go first.
I'm gonna swing at him.
All right.
So how do I do attacking again? I have to beat his parry, correct?
Yeah. So you're gonna roll fighting.
All right. And I get a +1
And,
because of my sword.
Yeah. So roll fighting. Always roll your d6 as well. Take the higher, and either one will get that +1 from your sword. You just let me know what you're fighting
I got a 10.
result. All right. 10, and his parry is 5. So you beat him by 4 points, or more actually. But
So it's
4 is the
4
magic
damage.
number. For every 4 points you beat them by, that's called a raise. And in this case, you get an extra d6 of damage because of that raise. So roll whatever your damage is, and add an extra d6 to that, and then total that up. Damage is one of the few things you don't get your hero die for, your wild die.
7.
All right, so we compare that to his toughness. Now his toughness is actually an 8. So you
So
have
it's
not.
a
So you would have hit him, but he's so tough you haven't actually damaged him.
So is that a wound?
No, if you beat his toughness, then you start. First you'll stun him, and if you beat him by 4, then you've wounded him. But you haven't beat his toughness, so.
Can you use a Benny on the damage roll or not?
Yeah, you can use a Benny to re-roll your damage if you want.
Can I
Absolutely.
re-roll the d8 then?
Yeah, I believe on a Benny you re-roll both dice.
Okay.
And you can choose which one.
I think you make the whole roll over again, I believe.
I believe you can choose which of the 2 results you want as well.
Well, I got a 7 instead. 7 and a 6. Oh no,
I'd
that was
stick
my
with the second
bonus. That was my bonus damage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The d6.
Yeah, because your damage should be your sword, which I think is a d8,
Yeah.
plus your strength, which...
I didn't add my strength in.
Yeah. Yeah, it should... I don't have that pre-gen anymore, but it should say...
Do you want it? I have it.
No, I don't need it. But it should say, like, the sword should be a d8 plus strength. So if your strength is a d6, roll a d6 plus the d8 for the sword. That's your add them to get your total. But because you hit with the raise, you also add a d6.
So for the strength. Oh, it's a 6 again.
Whoa!
19 to toughness.
Wow.
All right, and there's a rule called acing, which is also like exploding dice in other systems. So when you roll the maximum possible number, so if you roll that 6 on a d6 like you just did, you get to roll another d6 and add that to your total.
So you get to roll 2d6.
For
21?
both of those, you've aced.
Oh.
So add 2 more d6.
So 26.
Wow.
All right. So again, his toughness is 8. and for every 4 points you beat him by, you do 1 wound. So you've beat him by what? 8 points. So that's 2 wounds. Now, as heroes, you guys have 3 wounds each. This demon is an extra, as they call it. So he can't. He only has 1 wound, basically. So you can describe how you kill this demon, Tyler.
It kind of just like charges at me, and I kind of just like start yelling back, running with my sword over my head. It's like that cliche thing, like we just like cross blades, like you see nothing for a second, we're just each standing there with our weapons out, and you just his body starts sliding off, and he just falls in half.
Oh, he just falls in half. So he like lands on the ground, and he immediately begins to like sizzle and stink, and almost like he's he starts to like almost like he's cooking, and his body is like dissolving, but there's this horrible stink of like burning garbage as he's dissolving. And the fumes coming off of him are like yellowish, and they stink of brimstone.
Reminds me of home.
Yeah, but his body, his corpse, just disintegrates before your eyes. He does leave that wicked, crazy axe on the floor, and Squire John kind of looks down at the axe, and you see his eyes get real big. He like looks down at his dagger. The demons took his sword, and he never got it back.
I'd be like, John, take the axe. Take the axe.
Yes, my lord. And he like reaches out. He picks it up very gingerly, like he's holding a rattlesnake. That's the way he looks. He's very nervous holding this blade in his hand.
So what's the demon weapons made out of? Will the demon weapons hurt other demons?
Presumably they will, although I don't think you've seen them attack each other yet. Smokey, you might have seen them attack each other because they're so ornery, and you've been in town for a while watching them, at rest, and they don't rest. They don't even sleep. They're just constantly belligerent. But you have seen them cutting each other to pieces just for fun. I mean, it's fun for the guy doing the cutting, at least. So you know that this axe will certainly hurt demons.
It looks a bit big for me, though.
Yeah, it is. It is a very large axe.
How big is this axe?
Well, it's like a Dane axe, but it's got a really big head on it. Almost like a double blade bitted axe. But spikier and less practical. It's almost like a cartoony looking weapon of evil. But Squire John does take that up, and he's kind of like he's nervous about holding it, but he's kind of happy he at least has something. So no one at this point rushes to investigate that noise, and there's so much noise in the castle already that that hopefully nobody will. But what do you guys do next? You've kind of penetrated from the outbuilding. You've now come into the keep. Are you going to head like down to the dungeon, up to the tower, or into the great hall? Where do you think this Diabolus might be?
Smokey, if you were a demon, where would you hide?
Demons don't hide, but it's the demonist, isn't it, that we're looking for? A diabolist who holds the gate open. Now, I don't know. He's a human diabolist, I guess. And I'd go for... Let's check out the Great Hall first. That's I presume on the entrance level, and then we can see if there are any clues there, and from there we can choose whether we go up or down, but I suggest we're close to the Great Hall. Let's check out the Great Hall first.
Smokey, you can always make a knowledge test if you want to see if you know anything about magic or demons or anything.
I probably don't. I have no skill in it, so...
Oh, okay.
I'll do it. I have knowledge.
All right, roll it.
Let's clear these. Yeah, no, that doesn't work, does it? It has to be a D4, correct?
Well, don't forget your wild die. You get a D6
Oh, yeah.
and take the higher.
3.
All right.
I know this is a castle.
Yes.
Wait. Demons don't eat. Demons don't eat, but this Diabolist is a human. He must eat, and I know where the food store is. And maybe they'll, if I investigate the food store, the well, sort of, we'll get some impression. Maybe if we just watch for a while, he'll have to come and grab some food, or we can get or his servants will. We can get an impression of whether he's up or down.
Right, but I really have to use the bathroom real quick. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So.
Do you want to take a 5-minute break?
Yeah, I'll grab a drink and I'll be back in a sec.
Okay, me too.
Cheers. So far, so good. 2 novices checking out a demon invasion. I'm feeling a little bit overpowered.
Sorry about that.
No sweat. We just took a quick break. Everybody, I went to grabbed a drink.
So what part of the UK are you from?
I'm from England, the north of England.
As in Wales North?
No, I lived in Liverpool, which isn't far from Wales, so that area.
I have family over in Sheffield.
Yep, that's close to where I was born.
I like it there.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been to London for vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But I mostly, whenever I'm in Europe, I go to Germany to visit my family.
You got family in Germany. I know Germany too. I've lived in Germany.
Oh. I kind of want to go to the UK just so I can see Man U play.
Oh no! You want to see Liverpool? Much better atmosphere.
I'm a Dortmund fan.
Borussia Dortmund.
I love Borussia Dortmund.
You'll
My
never
dream-
walk alone then.
My dream is to meet Marco Reus one day. I just hate Bayern for buying everybody out.
Yep.
All right. So when we last left, our daring heroes, I believe they were going to stake out the Pantry. Is that correct?
Yep.
See
All right.
if there are any clues to where the human is in this castle.
Skulking through the demon-haunted castle of skulls, which has now been occupied by these fiends. Can you make additional stealth tests to see if you're able to get there without running afoul of any other miscreants?
So I rolled a D4.
Yeah, if you're untrained, you get a D4. You always get your D6. Take the higher. But if you're untrained, you get -2 on whichever dice ends up being higher.
All right. Well, I got a 1. So I'm just walking down the hall again.
Okay.
I'm not sure you were the best person to choose to come sneaking through this place. Stealth might not have been the best option.
Joestar, as you're like walking down the hallway, again you can there's so much noise around you. It's kind of hard to, Smokey. It's hard for you to be stealthy. Usually you can listen and you know when you have to be really stealthy when someone's approaching, then you hide. But when it's quiet, then you can move. But in this case, it's so noisy. It's even a little hard for you to be stealthy. But you are moving stealthily at least, whereas Sir Joseph is not. But suddenly, as you're walking, you're going down the corridor. You hear a scream of rage from behind you. Turning, wheeling, you see behind you down the corridor, about 30 feet away. They've just turned the corner. There's 2 soldier demons, and they're dragging this limp body between them. And as they see you, they drop this body. It appears to be a naked woman who's got cuts and scratches all over her. She falls on the ground limp, smashes her head on the cobblestones, and then the demons just rush forward towards you. One of them has a scimitar or falchion, probably more like a falchion. The other one has another of these demonic axes. Do we want to roll initiative again or keep the same?
I'm fine with either or. What about you?
I would quite like to roll again, but never mind.
All right. No, if you want to roll, I'll roll.
Yeah, you can roll.
3.
7.
All right. Smokey, you're up first this time. So they're about 30 feet away. There's 2 of them. They're running towards you. What do you do?
Smokey he doesn't have a sword that can damage demons. The other 2 have the axe and the sword. So he's gonna run up, try and distract them with his buckler, shield, and sword, and sort of swing around and open one of them up for an attack from Sir Joseph.
All right. Do you have taunt or?
Yes, I have taunt.
I believe there's another skill that allows you to do that as well. But
I don't know what it'd be. I can.
Okay. But yeah, make a taunt test, and we'll see. I'm just looking that rule up because I haven't used that rule yet, but I seem to recall it's a pretty good rule. I'm just trying to find it.
Do I get to roll my smarts as well as my taunt?
No, it's just whatever your
taunt and
taunt
D6.
is. Yeah,
Okay.
it's based off your smarts, but that's only for the purpose of buying the skill.
Okay. I'll use a Benny and see if I can influence this, because I don't know how often you use Bennies, but I'll have another go.
Yeah, well, it couldn't hurt.
This seems to have worked well as well as it can. 6. Oh, and I get to roll again if I get the maximum.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah. You've aced, so roll again and keep both results.
Do I roll the D4 and the D6 because I aced with
No,
both?
it's just whichever one was higher, you keep, and if that one aces, then
8 total. 8 total.
Okay, so I'm still looking that up. I believe it's opposed to his spirit, I think. He's running a D6. So 8 versus 5, and I'm just still trying to find the rule. Just bear with me.
It could be opposed to his spirit or his smarts. I have no idea, but I'm just guessing it'd be one of those two.
I think it's his spirit. That's what I rolled. But if I can ever find this rule, then I'll know for sure. The book's not well cross-referenced. I found Taunt, and it said, see Contest of Wills, but it has no page reference. So I'm just trying to find it manually. This is, of course, kind of a tutorial session so we can learn these, so I don't mind taking a little bit of time. All right, Test of Will. So Intimidate, Taunt. Oh, the defender uses his smarts to resist taunt. Yeah, okay. So I think that's also a D6. I rolled the wrong one then. I'll just make sure they're the same. Oh no, he's actually pretty dumb. So he actually only he got 3, and you said you were at a 10, correct?
An 8.
An 8. Okay.
So I beat you by 5.
Yeah, it says a success means the attacker gets a +2 bonus to his next action against the defender during this combat. A raise, which is beating him by 4, and that's what you did, gives the attacker the bonus and makes him shaken. So he's shaken, and you get a +2 to anything else you want to do against him. So when you get that raise, he's shaken. This is also what happens when you beat his toughness without getting a raise. So basically, he's stunned. He's immobilized. He can't move. He can't attack. He can't defend himself very well. And if someone is shaken and they become shaken again, that's a wound, and they're sorted out. Or at least an extra is. You guys have 3 wounds. So describe how you taunt this demon and stun one of the 2 demons.
I'm when I was brought up in the back alleys of Abraham, it was every man for themselves, dog eat dog. But there was one priest who had a good heart and looked after us when we were children, and he taught us the basics of religion, and I respected him and listened to his teachings, and he told me the 20 names of his God, and I learned those. I learned those by heart, and I was just reciting the 20 names of this God, the 20 secret names of the God, shouting them at the demon, and it seems to have had some effect.
All right, so one of the demons is stunned. Let's say that's the one with the scimitar. So Tyler, you're up. So there's one charging demon, one from this taunt. So the one that's reeling should be pretty easy to sort out. The other one is more threatening, however. So what does Sir Joseph do?
Can the one that's like shaken and it has to make a will save to be unshaken, correct?
Yeah, on his turn, he's going to test his spirit to see if he can
If he
recover or not.
passes, does he move that round?
No, but if he passes on a raise, so if he passes by 4 points, then he can move that round.
I'm gonna dispatch the charging demon then.
Okay.
Oh yes. Is the fight? Oh yeah. 5.
You rolled a 5?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just flipping back to his old stat block. So his parry is 5, so that's a success. So roll your damage. So that's your strength plus your longsword, which I believe is D8 plus whatever your strength is. I don't know. Your strength.
Do I roll that hero die with this?
No, damage is like pretty much the only thing you don't get the bonus die for.
Alright, then I got a 7.
Okay, 7 total. So again, that's not quite enough to beat his toughness. So as you know, he runs forward, you're running forward. You come out with the sword, and you know you manage to hit him, but it's superficial. So at the last moment, he like stops charging, and you swing with your momentum, and he steps back, and you cut his chest. There's this big line of blood coming down his chest, but it hasn't actually like severed the muscle. It probably hurt a lot, but he's still alive, unfortunately.
Merely a flesh wound.
Merely a flesh wound. So our good squire will attack, trying to help you out. He doesn't even manage to get in and cause a flesh wound against that demon. You know, he swings this big axe kind of clumsily, and the demon, who's already stopped, he raises his axe and parries him down, and then the demon is going to make his attack, probably against the squire, and he's got an ace and an ace. And so he's got
Smokey. I may need a new squire after this.
17 to hit. I believe our good squire's parry was only like, I believe it was 4. So on a 17, that's
13.
That's 3 raises, I think.
Yep.
It's every 4 points that he beats him by, he gets an extra damage die.
Rest in peace, Squire.
3 extra damage dice. Plus his regular damage, which is strength plus D8. So let's see. Oh, and one of those aced, so we get another dice in there.
Rest in peace, Squire.
So that's, I believe, 27 points of damage if I'm adding that up correctly. I believe our squire's well, our squire's done. So yeah, the squire comes in clumsily. The demon just parries and lops sideways and just gashes open Squire John's neck, and blood just starts spurting out. It covers the demon, and the squire might go spinning and reel against the wall, and he's trying to climb up the wall as he's sliding down it, and he kind of comes into a heap on the ground. And then the remaining demon will try to make his spirit test to recover, and he gets a 4, the magic number. That's a success, but that takes his whole turn to recover. So he's not stunned, he's not shaken anymore, and then we're back to Caius.
Oh shit. Well, Smokey, terrified that the Squire John's been slaughtered, desperately tries to, and not without any weapon, grabs the axe that Squire John's is still has a hand of Squire John's attached to the handle, and swings it wildly at the demon.
All right, so roll fighting.
Not my strong suit. Oh, but I get a natural suit.
An ace.
11.
All right. So that is so that's one raise. So roll your damage and add a d6.
Okay. Well, I don't know what the damage is for the axe.
Yes, it should be a d8 plus strength is the damage on the axe, I believe.
Okay.
And then so add another d6 to that.
Yeah.
9.
All right, so 9. Now, did one of those ace?
No. Oh yes, the
your
4 did.
4. Yeah, so get another d4 in there.
10, 11.
All right. So you're looking for 8. So 9, 10, 11. You didn't quite get a raise, but you did beat his toughness. So you've shaken him. He's stunned. So describe how you use your axe to stun one of these demons.
So I never having used an axe before, I grab the thing. It's very heavy. Swing wildly in panic and catch it in the demon groin, and and its blood red eyes go a little bit more blood red.
All right, and then we're on to Sir Joestar. Now I'll point out that if you gang up on the same opponent, you get a +1 bonus to hit. I'm just checking if you get any bonus to damage, but I know you get +1 to fighting. But you are up, Joe.
With the demon that just killed my good squire.
All right. And can we assume, is that the one you attacked as well, Caius?
Yep.
Okay. So roll fighting, and you get your +1 from ganging up on him.
Oh, so I'm getting a +2.
Yeah, so it's a +2 because your sword already gives you a +1.
Oh, I just rolled a 10 on a d10. So that's 12.
And that's an ace. So roll another d10 there and keep adding them until you don't get 10.
I got a modded 10 on that one.
All right.
So that's 12.
20.
22.
22.
22 to hit.
Yeah.
Okay, you were looking for 5. So how many degrees?
9,
how many degrees is that?
15. That's 4 raises, I believe.
Yeah.
All right, so 4 bonus d6s plus your regular damage.
Oh god. All right, let's see. This is sword damage. Okay, I'm gonna roll the sword damage again for that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's 14. Then I'm rolling my strength. And then I'm rolling 4 extra d6s.
Yeah, if that's how many raises you got, then yes.
So that's 14, 16, 19,
28. No, 30.
30.
All right, and you were looking for an 8. So describe how you completely eviscerate this demon.
I see that he kills my squire, and I kind of just like grip the sword, and you see like white sparks, like the latent white magic, and it just like sparks up, and like it becomes like it looked like a giant gray sword made of just like white magic, and it's kind of swinging right onto the demon, and it gets decapitated straight off, and then back down again to like cut the body in half, and then like just the white magic on just disperses. And it's just my normal sword, and his body's just like disintegrating there.
Yes, disintegrating with that horrible sizzling stink again. Any normal opponent, if he saw his friend get hacked up like that, would probably run. But these demons, relish suffering, combat, and carnage. So the remaining soldier demon, the one with the falchion, will at least try to attack you. He rolls a 1, so he comes in. He's swinging, and you like effortlessly just parry him out of the way, and then we're back to Caius.
So, Smokey, covered in sort of still sneezing from the smell of brimstone and acrid smell of the demon, tries to strike the next one with the demon axe, and at least stun it or distract it for the other guy.
All right, and don't forget you get a +1 for ganging up on him.
Yeah. Oh, I get a 6, so I roll a 11 total.
All right, so you're looking for a 5, so that's a raise. So roll damage and add an extra d6.
I should have noted the axe is d8, did you say?
Yes, sir.
So that just a total of 8.
All right. That hits his toughness, so he's stunned.
Oh, I'm at least distracting them for you.
Did you get him in the balls too? Or is this your signature move?
Yeah, I catch him on the side of his head with the flat of the axe.
All right, and then Joe, you've got one stunned opponent. You get +1 for ganging up on him.
All right. The 7 hit?
Yeah, you're just looking for a 5, so that's a hit. No raises, so roll regular damage.
All right. Seven damage.
All right. Again, his toughness is 8, so you haven't managed to wound him. You've just done. You haven't managed to injure him yet. You've just done a flesh wound.
All right.
So do you want to describe how? He's got hit in the side of the head. He's kind of reeling.
Well, I'd say that Joseph was trying to swing at him when he didn't know Smokey was gonna hit him. So him like, I think him in the head kind of moved his body up, and I just kind of, instead of going for the throat, I just kind of like get the top of his chest with like the tip of my sword.
All right. So on his turn, he kind of shakes himself out of it, and he's got his sword, but it took him his whole turn just to recover from being shaken. So we'll come back to the top, which is Smokey.
So Smokey this time tries down to trip him. Let's see. Oh no, I've got a 4, so I'll reroll that. And a 10 total.
All right, and you're looking for a 5, so I believe a 10 is a raise. So you add an extra damage dice in addition to your regular damage.
Okay. Or do I add them all together?
Yes, sir.
So this time this time my stun is I hit it in the back of the knee and it's not really it brought down and it's kind of flustering in front of the knight.
Okay, so that's another stun, yeah.
Finish him, Sir Joe. Yep.
All right.
That's what I'm presuming.
Yep. You're up, Joe.
All right.
He's down on one knee. He's stunned.
8.
You guys are okay. 8. So with your with your bonus for ganging up?
Yes.
Okay. So that's not quite a raise. So just roll regular damage.
All right. 6. I'll roll the Benny.
Okay.
8.
All right. 8 is that beats his toughness, or at least it matches it, which is the same thing. And because he's already shaken, when you're already shaken and you get shaken again, that's a wound. He only has 1 wound. So describe how you take care of this demon.
I want to say that I kind of just like catch him on like the side of the throat, and I just keep on like pulling it and like swinging the sword back into it until like I crudely just take his head off.
All right, you're a big fan of the decapitations, aren't you, Ty?
Oh yeah.
I've never seen you gut somebody or cut an arm off or any. You always just or like stab them in the eyeball. You always just cut their head off. I've seen you decapitate like 10 different characters, I think. All right, so that demon, yes, his head also hacked off. He starts boiling, burning from the inside, dissolving. So what do you guys do next? Do you continue to the pantry?
I dropped the axe because this demon had a scimitar or a kopesh or something like that, which looks a bit more like my style of weapon, and I start swinging that one. And well, this is a bit more like me.
Yeah, it's like a very big scimitar or a falchion kind of weapon.
Falchion. Yeah. I suggest continuing to the pantry.
Yep, we'll see the pantry.
All right. So you don't meet any further opposition on your way through. You come into the pantry. The food is still like in good condition. It doesn't look like anybody's been in here. It hasn't been long enough for the food to really rot. So there's lots of food there. Lots of flour, vegetables, meat. Barrels of like salted fish, salt pork, all kinds of spices. Everything that you need for a feast, except some cooks, and the fire's gone out. So what do you guys do? Do you hide there waiting, or what do you do?
I'm gonna hide in a barrel of fish.
Okay. And what about Smokey?
Smokey has the hindrance of greedy, which is really for gold and treasure, but I think it's also, I'm going to take it here, that he can't resist helping himself to sugars, honey, little sort of sweet things, and he's just sort of feasting on, he's always been hungry when he was growing up, and seeing all this food in front of him, it's too much, so he just indulges himself and he starts scoffing.
Okay. Man, if this were Call of Cthulhu, I'd get you to make a luck roll, see if anybody walks in on you while you're doing that. But sadly, there's no luck mechanic in Savage Worlds. Why don't you make a spirit test to see how quickly your willpower returns after gorging yourself?
Okay. Not very quickly. I'm gorging myself.
Okay. Can you both then make notice tests?
That of which I do not have.
All right. So you don't have it. You roll a d4. You still get your d6, but you get -2 to either one.
I got a 4, so do I add another one to that?
Yeah. Roll another d4 and see if you can ace again or what.
I don't. Not at all.
Okay. Well, yeah, and it's not enough to succeed even on an ace, sadly.
I got one success.
All right. So, Spokey, as you're like gorging yourself, and Sir Joestar is like trying to get down. Maybe he's in a barrel of fish. Maybe he's just behind a barrel of fish. But you're like eating. But you hear. He doesn't hear this. But you hear like kind of a maniacal giggling, like a high-pitched tittering from up the hallway, and several like high-pitched voices coming down the hallway towards you. And as they're getting closer, Joe will be able to hear that someone's speaking, but he can't make out the words. Whereas Smokey, you've been listening, for a little bit longer, trying to understand what they're saying, and you can hear them talking. So you can hear them saying, "Food for the master. Bring 'em food. Eat 'em good. Yum yum. Master no like flesh 'em. No drink blood. But master is master. Bring 'em up to tower. Master eat high in the sky." And there's several different voices, just kind of they're just jabbering with no point. Very high-pitched voices as they're approaching. Smokey, why don't you make another spirit test to see if you can resist grabbing one last morsel?
Yes. As I picture it, I've been hiding, and then every now and then when I've been bored, I've gone out and thought, oh, just one more piece. And now see if I spirit. No. I can't resist it, so I'm caught red-handed.
So what you should do is drop the pie and go immediately over to cover. What you actually do is you hear them, and then you just eat faster.
Yeah.
And you don't want to drop this piece of pie. And you do finish the pie and then head over, and you're maybe even eating on the way. But it's just that split second where the door like swings open. And you can see there's 3 imps there. One of them is kind of like walking along. They have long, emaciated legs. They're painfully skinny, but they're only about 2 feet tall. They're very short. They have long whip-like tails with stingers, barbed stingers on the end of them. Tiny little bull horns out of their head. Their skin is completely red, and they have these large leathery bat wings, also blood red. And like the other demons, they're also naked. But there's 3 of these little 2-foot-tall imps with the wings and the stinger tails. And as the door comes open, you can see like 2 of them are flapping along. One of them's kind of crawling and shuffling on the ground because there's not enough airspace for him. With these other 2, and then they see him like, ah! And you can tell they're like frozen in panic for a second. Do we want to roll new initiative or keep the old?
I'll roll a new one.
Okay. Let's get their stat here.
I got a 7.
Okay, they're a little more agile than our soldier demon. What do you got, Caius?
I get 22.
Oh my goodness. All right. So Caius, you go first. So they're in the doorway. Like, ah! There's 3 of them. They're startled. What do you do? They have seen you for sure, though.
I run forward, throw the one that's in. 2 of them are in the room and one's in the door, and I try and throw the one that's in the door into the room and close the door.
Okay. I'll get you to make a fighting test for that maneuver, and take a +1 bonus because you're so much bigger than this fuck.
Okay. $10.
All right. So yeah, you're able to grab the one that's not in the room and switch places with him basically, and then close the door. So you've locked the 3 imps.
I'll be in the room with them, sort of not on the outside.
Oh, okay. So you brought him. I thought you were leaving them in there with Joseph.
Oh, I quite like that idea. What shall I do? No, I'll stick in with Joseph. Watch Joseph, see if he gets into any trouble.
I'm still in the barrel of fish.
All right. Well, it is your initiative though. So do you spend your round climbing out of the barrel of fish?
I'm gonna stay in the barrel of fish to see what happens.
Oh no.
Okay. So the imps are panicked. Now they're locked inside. So they're all going to attack you, Smokey, with their stinger tails.
I knew it.
Does a 5 beat your parry?
My parry is 5.
All right. So one of them does then strike you. Let me just grab his damage quickly. So he's got an ace.
Ooh.
So you've got 11 damage. Does that beat your toughness?
Oh yes. It beats it by a raise.
Oh. Okay.
Can I actually use Benny on that or not? Can I use a Benny on damage or not?
Yeah. The other thing you can, other than a reroll, the other thing you can use a Benny for is what's called a soak roll for damage. So basically, you make a vigor test. So you spend a Benny and make a vigor test right now.
A vigor test.
Yeah. So it's one of your attributes along with strength and agility.
Four.
All right. And 4 is the magic number. That's what you're looking for. So let me double check that rule. Again, this is a tutorial session. I'm still learning the system as well. I'm not sure if that removes the wound or if it just removes the shaken condition. So just give me a sec here.
No problem.
It's not the best organized book, as I said. Okay, damage should be here somewhere. Okay, the soak roll. The character can spend a Benny to automatically eliminate a shaking condition. If the Benny is spent immediately after taking 1 or more wounds, you can make a vigor roll as well, which you've done. Success and each raise on the roll reduces wounds by 1. Okay, so even the flat success removes 1 wound, so you're basically fine. So that's basically eliminated the consequence of that. However, that's just his stinger. Can I get a vigor roll against his poison?
Ah. 10.
His stinger shoots forward. It probably does hit you in like a fairly vital area. Maybe he like grabs you and stings you right in the gut, and you can like feel the stinger, come into your gut, and you feel a burning as he injects the poison inside of you. But it doesn't manage to incapacitate you in any serious way, neither through the sting nor the poison itself. The other two are like trying to sting at you, but you're able to like kind of get them off.
The way. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got like these 3 2-foot-tall imps just going gangbusters on you, and then we'll come back to the top, which is you, Smokey.
I'll just try out the scimitar on him. I slash out wildly with my new weapon.
All right. Roll fighting.
I'm going to use another Benny.
Okay.
I'm burning them up. I get a 4.
All right, that's a success. Roll damage.
How much is this weapon?
It's also a D8.
Okay. Just a 3. A 4.
All
That's
right.
not enough.
No, that is enough. They're so small that they're not very tough. So as you strike one of them, he is shaken. So you got one of them shaken, and then we'll come back to Sir Joseph.
I will burst out of the barrel of fish.
Okay, so that's pretty much your action, is to get out of the barrel, and then we'll come back to the imps. So the one is going to make his spirit test to see if he can recover from being shaken, which he cannot, so he's still shaken. So we got 2 of them are trying to attack you, Smokey. Let me just check their fighting. Does a 4 beat your parry?
No, I've got a 5.
Okay. Oh, I forgot they get gang up. I forgot that last turn.
Damn.
Yeah, so gang up is +1 for every assailant other than yourself. So it should have been +2 last turn, but it's only +1 this turn, but that's enough for 1 hit against you. Does a 2 beat your toughness?
No.
All right. And then we're back to you, Smokey, at the top.
Was that just 1 attack or 2 attacks on me?
That was 2. One didn't even hit. The other one hit, but he didn't penetrate toughness.
Okay.
So again, they're like clawing, tittering. They're trying to use their horns and their stinger, but they're only 2 feet tall and they're just not able to do a lot.
Okay, so I'm going for the one that's stunned, and I'm going to try and damage him.
Okay.
But I'm really unskilled with this weapon.
Yeah. That's why I was going to make new pre-gens that were more useful, but I just didn't have the time, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm going to use my last Benny.
Okay.
That's more like it.
All right. So you got an ace there. Ooh. This poor fuck.
That's a 20.
All right, and you were looking for 5, so that's what, 4 raises. So you get 4 extra damage dice. Even if they all roll a 1, you still killed him. But you only need to roll a 4. But you can roll him if you want. But he's certainly dead.
I swing out and sort of lash out and cut him in half. His tail embeds itself in my buckler, and I just bring up the scimitar and cut him in half.
All right. And then I believe it's Sir Joseph.
I'm gonna swing down on one of the imps.
All right, roll it.
Do we get gang up for this?
Well, he's already engaged a different target, so
Okay.
not on this turn because he killed his target. You can't gang up on it anymore.
I thought I had my sword in my hand. I hit it with the fish.
The fish of doom. Okay.
Does fish do damage to imps?
No, definitely not. So then we're back to the imps. So we got 2 imps. They're rolling like gangbusters here. I think they'll keep trying their original target, which is Smokey. So you said your parry is 5, correct?
Yep.
All right, so that's 2 hits against you. One of them gets an 8, which is still not a raise, so that's okay. So we've got 1 does 2 damage, so your toughness protects you from that. The other one does 5 points of damage. Does that beat your toughness?
Yeah, that's my toughness.
Okay. So then you're so you're shaken from that,
Okay.
but also make a vigor test against his poison.
Oh, that looks positive.
Or, yeah.
Can I re-roll both of those and see what the best
No,
result is?
just you can roll either or. As far as I understand, you only need a 4 anyway, so you succeeded no matter what. But you are shaken, however.
Okay. Yep.
So the again, one of the imps now he's up on your back, upside down. So his head is at your ass. He's trying to bite your ass, but his tail is free, and his tail jabs down into the back of your neck, and you can feel it click against one of your vertebrae, and the burning poison is injected into you. The poison doesn't hurt, but you're stunned just from the impact. And I believe we're back to your turn. So make a spirit test to recover from that stun.
Five.
All right, so you'll recover next turn.
Yep.
If you had succeeded on a raise, if you got an 8, then you'd just act normally in this turn. But as it is, you'll act normally next turn. So we'll come to Sir Joe.
I'm gonna swing at the same imp again.
Okay.
Oh God.
And there's no gang up because your friend is shaken.
All right, I get 6.
That's a hit. Roll damage.
11.
11. So describe how you destroy one of these imps.
I'm gonna cut off its tail and grab it, disintegrating it, and decapitate it with its own tail.
Of course. All right. So the remaining imp, seeing its companions have been squashed, it starts. No, please no, me no hurt, me good, me not bad, and it flies over into the corner of the room, and it's flying around like a bat, it's a bat that's just stuck indoors. So it's essentially lost its morale. It's freaking out, and it's trying to beg you, like, me help, please, please, no, I take you to master, please. So he's not really doing anything useful on his turn. So we'll come back to Caius. So you're at the top, Caius. You've recovered now from being shaken. So what do you do?
What is the name of your master? And he's up in the tower, but in which room?
Yes, Master Yannick. Summon, open portal, open biggie portal, bring through with blood, with pain, and demon realm, take over Averland. Yes, but Master, yes, take you to Master in tower. So what's your reaction to that, Smokey? It's kind of hard to understand the demon, so you could always ask him to clarify what the fuck he's rambling about.
How long have you served this Yannick? Did you come through the portal that he opened, or were you here before?
Yes, Yannick summoned. 2 days, big portal. Me coming through, lots eat, lots pain. Yes.
Does that make sense? 2 days? Is that about how long this has been lasting?
Yes. Didn't take long for Abraham to fall from within. Certainly, especially once the castle was fucked. I mean, the whole city was in danger.
And Yannick wants food now.
Yes, Yannick send to bring meal. Yannick up in tower. Me take you, Yannick. You no hurt, no pain. Pain for others, yes. Not me, no.
Smokey's the one agreeing not to hurt him, not me.
Well, he hasn't made a decision yet. You can always jump into this conversation if you want, Sir Joe.
Who's protecting your master?
Demon guard castle, soldier demon, lots of many soldier. Inside castle, no guard, a few guard, not many guard. Me take you see.
Is there a chain in the kitchen?
It probably wouldn't be chain, but there's rope.
I want to make a nice little leash.
Imp on a leash.
And I'm gonna grab a fish at the barrel and put it on the top of the stinger.
Yes. Cover that stinger. Me no hurt. Me friend. Yes, me friend. Me teach you things. Yes, things you want them know. Yes.
Did the imps sort of hiss and disappear when we killed them like the other demons?
Yeah, they boiled away, just like the larger soldier demons.
What food did Yannick want?
Yannick say hungry. Me come bring food. Bring whatever food, any food.
Have you tried this pie? I say, passing for the pie that I've been eating. I guess there's another one sort of nearby. This is delicious. Put your stinger tail in it a few times. Inject some poison into this pie.
Poison pie, yes, poison pie, good. And he does kind of slide his stinger out of the fish slowly so you don't get startled, and he puts it into the pie, and you can see the little muscles and veins in the end of his tail working. And he's pumping poison into this pie, and he's gleefully giggling as he does it. Yes, pie good, yes. So you've created this poison pie now. So what do you do with it?
Does this Yannick treat you well, or does he abuse you? Does he treat you like a little unimportant servant?
Yes, Yannick, no nicey. Yannick slappy, yell. Yannick just like demon back from hell.
And do you want to be an imp all your life? You must. There must be. If you kill Yannick, can you raise in power?
Yeah, can only have one master though. Is rule is Bigum rule. But you can be a new master. Then yes, Yamak eat poison pie. Yeah.
So I could be your master.
Yes, me teach you things. Teach you good things. Good to know.
This
You're gonna
is
hear
tempting.
Joseph just like grind his sword against like a pot to make that loud like metal on metal sound.
Mm-hmm.
And say, enough, we go kill Yannick. Kill all the demons.
And yes, and I'll swing out and try and finish off this imp.
Yeah, if you're pretty much at this point able to catch him like completely unawares. So he's like, yes, you new master, yes? And then you like bring the fucking sword down. You just cut him in half. And he's just like sizzling and boiling away on the floor.
It was partly because I was tempted that I just killed him off, but
I'm glad you didn't make a deal with that devil. So what do you do next? You've heard now that Yannick is up in the tallest tower. You've got this poison pie. You know Yannick is hungry. so what do you do?
I go up to the tower.
Go to the tower. Shall we try and poison him first, or shall we leave the pie? See if he probably won't eat it if it's not delivered by imps. But
I'd say we just kill him.
okay, let's go up to the tower then.
All right. Let's see.
Just before I leave, I go to one of the other pies and take a last bite, cut off a last piece of pie before we go up into the tower. Oh, it really is very good. Much better than your fish.
All right. So yes, leaving the pantry, you're able to like skulk up. And like the higher that you go, the fewer roaming demons you seem to come across. And eventually you find yourself creeping up, the spiral staircase, ascending that tower. And, as you're, let me just think if you would hear anything from the outside as we're coming up or not. I'm gonna say at the moment you probably don't. So you don't really hear anything as you're coming up. But as you reach near the top, you see that the door into the tower chamber is closed. So what do you do?
So it's closed, right?
Yep. A lot of the doors have been left open in the castle. Demons, they were raised in hell. They don't close doors behind them. It's worse than being raised in a barn. So, but this door is closed.
I want to kick the door in.
All right. Do you want to roll new initiative or keep the old one?
Yo, am I too late?
You're too late.
Damn it.
We're just finishing.
The hell was that?
He wanted to join the game, but he's too late. So do you want to roll a new initiative or keep the old one? Kaius probably wants to keep the old one.
Yeah, let's stay with it.
Okay.
You could have your
So
200,000, whatever it was.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that. Yes, but yes, 22.
Kick the door in. So you guys will get a surprise round if you want one. Savage Worlds calls that getting the drop on someone. So you get the drop on them. Let me see. You get +4 to attack and damage during this surprise round. So as you kick the door in, you see this opulent tower chamber hung with red velvet. There are red candles on gold candelabras all over the place. There's this enormous 4-poster bed. It's gilded with gold. There's red satin sheets all over it. Just this opulently appointed room, fine cabinetry and decoration. There's beautiful tapestries. And although the quality of the tapestries is beautiful, the scenes depicted on them are horrifying. Scenes of torture and rape and maiming, castration, cannibalism, just disgusting imagery rendered in the most beautiful fashion possible. You also see there's like two areas like on the east wall and the west wall. There are people chained, golden chains attach these people up to the walls. You see on the left there's a group of men that are chained up there naked, and they've got the marks of torture about them. They have cuts, scars, burns. They look most bedraggled. And on the other side is there's a group of women, also naked, also bear less mark of torture, but still a lot of mark of injury upon them. And by you can definitely see like a lot of family resemblance. And Sir Joseph, you might recognize these as the scions of House Bohm, the ruling house of Averheim. So these are the Count and his family. They've been chained up to the wall. They're being tortured. Or they have been tortured. They're not being tortured at this moment. In the very center of the room, there's this large cleared area, and there's this huge pentagram scrawled down onto the ground in what may be blood. It's very intricately drawn. The general outline is a pentagram, but there are tiny runes and sigils running all through it. And it's very, very intricately scrawled upon the ground. And as you guys come in, so that's like the room, the scene. But as you come in, this figure like sits up in the bed with this look of shock on his face, and he's like this short, middle-aged man. He's like skinny with a pot belly. He's very pale and clammy-looking skin. He looks like, and he's got like busted-ass teeth. He looks like a toothless commoner, and he's wearing this opulent golden robe and this huge gold crown with rubies, and this huge gold chain with a pentagram around it with a big ruby in the center. And he's just wearing this robe. He's got nothing on under it. It's like a bath, almost like an opulent bathrobe that he's wearing. It's all cloth of gold woven into it. He looks up at you guys as you kicked in the door. So this is what the scene that greets you. So you can only assume that this is Yannick Haas, the Diabolus the imp told you about. What do? You've got the drop on him. He's shocked.
I'm charging in. Shield in hand, sword in other.
All right. So if you're gonna bring down the sword of justice, then roll fighting.
All right, let's go. Okay. It's an 8.
All right. An 8 is a
And you
hit
get
with.
+4. And you get +4, so it's 12.
Oh yes.
Oh, yes, 12 then, yeah.
All right. So that's 2 raises.
All right,
So
that's
add 2 damage dice to your regular damage.
1, 2. Then my 6 for strength. 12, 19 points of damage.
Okay. And don't forget your +4 for having the drop on him.
Oh, then 23.
Okay. So let's see here. So Yannick is going to spend one of his bennies, because he's a wild card, to try to make a soak roll of his own. So he gets a wild die for being a wild card. So that's only 1. So that'll only save him from 1 wound. You rolled a 22. So that's let me see there.
No, 23
This
actually.
is brutal. Okay. So that's like 5 wounds. He's gonna spend a Benny to re-roll that whole gimmick. And another. And that was like his last Benny.
Did I one-shot him?
I believe so. I'm just gonna do the calculation quickly. But I think even his best roll there, he only soaked 1, so he takes 4. So yeah, describe how you one-shot the Diabolus.
I kind of just like jump in. I'm gonna like stab down, and I'm just gonna. Is he sitting down like a chair or something?
He was like laying in bed, and you came in, and he like sat up in bed. So
Yeah,
his legs are like sprawled out in the bed, and his torso is up.
My sword's gonna come down like through his eye, and it's gonna go through him. Just like pin his head into the bed frame.
So he turns and goes, oh! And like he's gonna say something, and then the sword just pierces his skull. And you pin him down to the bed, and he's twitching, and blood squirts out of his eye, and he instantly shits himself, as people do when they die. And he's naked, so and he pisses himself. So you get the smell immediately. He has no pants on. So but as he's as he's twitching there, you look over and you see there's this huge book, this black bound book that's kind of on the other pillow, like it was in bed with him, and it's very rough looking. It's got a big pentagram on the front in like silver thread, but it's very threadbare and old and musty. But there's this large tome there. But as you've come into the room, and you speared him onto the pillow, so he's done. But as that happens, it almost seems like the room starts to get dark, even though the candles are still lit, and a glow starts to emanate. Thank you, from that pentagram on the floor. So this red glow starts to diffuse onto that. Smokey, what do you do, if anything? You almost get the feeling like this big pentagram is it's glowing, like something is going to happen. The imp had talked about a portal, so you have to wonder, is this pentagram the portal? Is something about to come through? So what do you do?
I run up to. Do I recognize Lord Bone or the head of the family or any of the
yeah, you've probably
captives?
you've probably seen the Bohm family on parade. Alwyn Bohm is the count. You can see him there, naked and having been tortured, obviously. And they kind of look up. They're like completely dazed and stupefied. Like they've all got concussions. Like they don't know what's going on. They've been starved and beaten.
So I'll just say, Arwen Bone, this is Sir Joseph Joestar, and he's here to rescue you. And I cut through the golden chain that's holding him. And that's all I'll do that round. I'm really watching what's happening.
All right. So as you cut the chain, like he's got this big collar around his neck, chained to the wall, and as you cut that, he like slumps forward onto the ground. It was like he couldn't sit down because of this fucking thing. He was too high off the ground to sit on his butt, so he's like having to kneel for probably 2 days straight when he's not being tortured. So he just oozes onto the ground, and he kind of like, and you can see his like, he's got this long white beard. It used to be regal, but now it's all disgusting and choked with blood and snot. And he like rolls over. It's the book. The book must be destroyed. The portal. And he like points over, and you can see the glow intensifying. It almost seems like those the red lines of the runes are expanding, like the blood is oozing out to cover this entire area of the pentagram. So what do you guys do? You might not have long before this portal opens.
I'm gonna pull my sword out of this dead body on the bed and kind of just like bring it down on the book.
All right. So do you want to narrate what happens? Well, that's kind of the end of the structured adventure. Let me ask you, though, Tyler, when you destroy the book, does that undo the spell, or was the undoing spell in the book and you doomed us all? Why don't you narrate what, or does something else happen? Why don't you narrate what do you think happens next?
Oh, I'd say that destroying the book and the guy who was using the book cut off any like source of energy going into the portal. So I want to say that it did, and the glowing just fades away, and it's just like a bloody pentagram on the floor.
Okay. And as that happens, like the room seems to shift and change. All of the gold turns to like rusty iron. The tapestries become faded and tattered. The golden robe is now revealed as just being like a like an old tattered linen robe. Everything in the room appears to have been an illusion, except for the people in it and that book. And also, the shutters are closed, but if you were to throw them open now, like you see the blue of the sky has returned, and looking down on the city, it's still in shambles, but you don't see any demons moving around. You think the demons have all faded away. They've gone back to hell. They've lost their grip on this reality and fallen back into the bottomless pit. So do you want to narrate the epilogue? You guys have now saved Averheim, perhaps all of Averland. What becomes of Smoky Kit and Sir Joseph, Bane of the Vampires, Joestar?
I say that I'd offer Smokey the chance to become my squire.
Smokey nods and thanks you quite obviously emotionally for this offer. but he's actually some other cogs seem to be turning in his head now, and he says, "I cannot think of these things whilst these people are suffering." And he looks after the Count's family, and whilst he does that, he goes and finds the Count's father's diary and writes a few false entries into it, which suggests that this homeless orphan is actually a bastard brother or a bastard son of the Count's father. So they are, yes, he's a young bastard brother of the Count who should be looked after by the Count's family.
I have the feeling Smokey is a compulsive liar. It's like you rescued the Count, but rather than just ask him for a favor, you have to lie.
I have to try and trick. It's my sort of modus operandi. I've got to come out feeling smarter than him. So,
do you think that actually works? Can Smokey? He might be literate because he was raised by a priest. They might have taught him to read and write, but can he forge that document? What do you think?
I don't have any skills there of forging in my. I don't know what the forging skill would be.
Well, just based on his backstory, do you think he would have any success at all?
Yes, I think he's a bit of a con man, and I don't know whether the Baron. How much the Count would honour this sort of blood relationship anyway, because he's only a bastard brother. But
if he's a really good con man, I can see him coming in and saying, "I couldn't let my own family suffer, so brother," and he like gives him the big hug and
So he is now brother of the Count, a bastard brother, a younger bastard brother.
All right. Well, so what do you think becomes of him in the long term? Does he eliminate his brothers and become Count eventually, or does he just retire and get drunk?
I think he's just his thing is he's not evil. He's just greedy, and I think he just lives the life of Riley.
All right, and what about Sir Joseph Joestar?
I'd say that I get more renown.
You've like saved 2 counties now.
I'm just a traveling knight doing my deeds.
Yeah, and I think both of your you've also lost 2 cities. Like you've saved the county but lost the city twice. That's quite a dubious reputation. You know, it's like, oh, he always wins, but all of his soldiers died.
Well, in the last one, I went in there with just me and my squire.
Yeah, but the town was devastated.
Oh yeah.
You stopped the vampire.
That was like the
zombie apocalypse destroyed the cities last time.
I blame Andrew on that fully.
Sure.
Oh, and just as a footnote, I also noticed I've got a big mouth. So sometime when I'm drunk, I boast about what I've done, and I've got to run out of the account. I live the life of luxury for 6 months or something like that, and then blab it and have to go and run.
Nice. So is there anything else to epilogue about the fate of these characters?
No, this is probably my go-to Savage World character, so I'm not leveling him up.
All right. Well, hey, as far as I'm concerned, you probably can level him up. Savage Worlds does not tend to be like an extra level doesn't make you invincible the way it does in Pathfinder.
We never took EXP from the last one either, so I never did anything. I don't know how to level up in Savage Worlds either.
Okay. Well, maybe I should level him up for you, perhaps, or we can do a hangout separately.
I'll send you the original sheet for him.
Okay, but I think that'll probably end our live broadcast. So thank you to our wonderful players from New York, from Spain via the United Kingdom. I'm of course coming from Toronto, Canada, or close to it. So that has been Into the Mouth of Hell. And we look forward to our wonderful audience returning with more excellent players in the future.